So we're gonna start off this week or this month by discussing something that is widespread and disgusting to me. And so I'm gonna start first, but we're talking about ghosting. Ghosting is when someone stops communicating and doesn't say why. They go ghost, they vanish. And so ghosting is widespread. Ghosting is all over our culture. It is a part of modern day culture. And I want to start by saying I think ghosting is trash. I think ghosting lacks accountability and is really silly. I think it's an easy way to run away from problems as opposed to being an adult and saying, hey, these are the things that are going on. There's nothing wrong with choosing to walk away from a situation, but as adults, we communicate. And so I thought we should talk about ghosting, see how y'all feel about it. And yeah, I don't like it. I think the shit is whack. Uh, I think that even if things are so bad you want to walk away, when you are entangled with someone, wink, wink, you should have at least the courtesy to tell them, hey, this is not going to work and I'm going to walk away, as opposed to just throwing them on the block list and vanishing into thin air. So that's my 2 cents. But ghosting, what y'all feel about it? Chime in, brothers.
I mean, so I've ghosted before. Um, I can't say it's a negative thing. It's just sometimes I ghost for if me and a person have like we're at an impasse and I'm still staying at my point. I'm getting to a point where I'm not gonna listen until you come at me with an understanding of my point of view, or you know we're agreeing to disagree, and you're gonna keep batting that down. Then there's no reason for conversation. I'm not gonna disrespect you and say, listen, I'm not talking to you no more. It's up to you. I said what I said, and that's it. If we are going to keep talking about the same problems, or as back in the days when I used to give people advice all the time, and they come back at me when they didn't take the advice I gave them, and they did their own thing, and they said the same problems keep going on and on. I'm like, my time's not being valued here. I love you, I respect you, I gave you time, and I gave you advice. Now you're just coming here to vent. If you're coming here to vent, that's perfectly fine. But if you're coming to me for advice, you're telling me up and down that I'm right. You're not lying to me. So that's a point of disrespect. And so I'll tell you, listen, I'm not going to give you advice anymore. That's that. But then you're going to continue to come to me asking for advice, asking for situation, for like, helps on situations. I'm sorry. Either we continue our friendship and ignore it and move that on, move on from that, or there's nothing there.
Well, ghosting is normally used when speaking about two people who are either dating or in some type of non familial, non family relationship,
Well,
as
I was
Nestor said last pod.
I was going with the general sense. Ghosting in a relationship should never happen. Then that should never happen. Um, because what's the point? What's the gist of it? Yeah,
Well,
what's
the
the
point is to avoid problems, avoid accountability, to say, you know what, Tez keeps blurring his background. I don't like it. But as opposed to telling Tez I don't like that he blurs his background, I'm going to just stop speaking to him.
I understand. I understand the point of view, but the thing that I'm trying to say is, if you're dating or if you're in an entanglement, um, communication should be a part of any relationship once it surpasses the just talking phase, when there's emotions or physicality involved. Um, Ghosting a person doesn't benefit anybody, because you're avoiding confrontation, cause confrontation, because, oh, I haven't spoke to la 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 for 2 weeks. Now la 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 sees me went out with tra la la. There goes a problem.
All right.
I don't like to use names because then
That's
that
fine. That
opens
was
up
perfectly
worms.
fine.
Um, that caused me a problem. That's an awkward situation. Oh, you're not with me no more. Now I'm in the middle of something in a place where I don't want to be. Had I just said, yo, listen, this ain't working for me. This ain't us. Or, listen, I need to do my thing for some time being, instead of being open in the front. I always tell people this: I'm at an age in my life where I have nothing to hide. I'll give you the truth. You can't handle it, then that's that. So in relationships, I don't do ghosting. And friendship wise, well, It's a different story.
Well, before we move on to the next person, what makes you ghost a friend? Like the advice thing you said?
I mean, it's just like if the conversation just seems like it's one dimensional, like if the relationship seems one dimensional amongst friends, where um or conditional, like a conditional friendship, like, oh, this person only comes to me when the world's turning blue. Like, okay, that's not a friendship. You're here because you need me for one thing only.
Mm,
That's not a friendship. It's not genuine. It's conditional.
Mhm.
Where I hit you up, yo, let's go to a concert. Nah, I can't go today. But yeah, you go with everybody else. You won't go with me. It's not really a friendship. But if the
got
sky was blue, yeah, go to concert with you. Let's go. It's only when the sky is blue.
got it. Okay. Who want to bat up next? What y'all got?
Yeah. I think in general, yes, ghosting can be pretty shitty. Um, at least as far as people that do it just like because they're bored or whatever. It's just like, oh, I'm done with this. I'm just not going to talk to them anymore. Um, that aspect is pretty shitty. But honestly, no one really owes you an explanation for anything when they decide they just don't want to deal with you anymore. Um, in in that case, then I mean, they kind of told you everything by just cutting communication with you without any explanation. You really, I know for a lot of people, it's like, oh, I need that closure and that, blah, blah, blah. Like, but technically, that's it. Like, you really don't need to hear anything else from them after that. They said, hey, uh, I'm done with you, essentially. And then if it's something that they're doing something where they're trying to do I forget what it's called, but it's basically, oh, I'm going to give you some attention and then just cut it off completely. And then once in a while, just come back real quick, give you some attention, and then cut it off completely. Like that's insane and that's ridiculous. That's definitely something that shouldn't be a part of your life. So in that regard, you don't need to be communicating with somebody like that.
Mhm.
Beyond that, I would say there are legitimate reasons for ghosting people,
Like what?
um, and that would be again in the sense of protecting your mental health. Because if it's someone that is constantly, uh, like Tez was saying, like a fair weather friend or somebody that's like just coming to you, uh, just to use you for that emotional support, but like never reciprocating anything, um, and never having your back in situations, then it's perfectly fine to just cut them off. If you want to leave them, hey, this relationship isn't working out because XYZ, you can, but you really don't need to because again, you don't really owe anyone any explanation. That's really something to be courteous or to give that person peace of mind. And obviously they don't care about your peace of mind, so you don't need to care about theirs. Um, and That's pretty much the most of it that I have.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Tez.
So so it's like what Nessa was saying too, where he agreed with me. It could also happen in relationships, right? Because there could be that one person. Obviously, I mean, I am going to relate it to myself. If there's a girl that only calls me because she's having problems with a boyfriend,
Mhm.
and that's not the base of our relationship. If we're messing around, it's fine. We're messing around, but you're only messing around with me because your boyfriend's not there. If that's not a part of the agreement, then hey, listen, I'm not gonna play that part. You know, when it comes and everything, when it comes to ghosting to me is just like I've exhausted like every option. I've exhausted everything that I could do, and like Nessa said, it is to present the mental where you don't want to break the boundaries you have set for yourself, and it's like it's not running away in a sense. It's more of a protection. It's more of a protection mindset where you just need to just shut it down for a bit, and also in that time of you ghosting, it's also a time of like, do I need to be with this person? Do I really want to be with this person? And can I let this person go if need be? That's when, if I'm in that point in a relationship, even with friends, I'm like, can I live without this person now? And in that time, and also, do I matter to this person? Because that's also another thing too. If I ghost you, you don't say shit. That shows that this what I'm doing right now doesn't matter in the aspect of our relationship.
Yeah, but in common practice, ghosting, you would not be able to contact the person because you're blocked.
I mean, that's getting into a deeper semantic of ghosting. Ghosting just
Ah,
means
but
not.
that's usually what ghosting is. Usually ghosting is, let's say me and woman A went on a first date. Yeah, brother, what do you mean? No, that's common in ghosting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead,
yeah,
Dre.
but no, I was just gonna say like that is an aspect of it where it's like, yeah, okay, I blocked you on everything on every, so I'll never want to see you again. That's one aspect of it. But what Tez is saying is also another aspect where it's just like, okay, you ghosted me, like you cut off communication. I might still have access to communicate with you, but I haven't heard from you. You know what I'm saying?
And
And
not
so when it's
responded.
my turn
I
to
mean,
speak, I'm about to
I'm
get
gonna
off.
wrap up my
Yeah,
point right there,
go ahead.
right now. But to me, ghosting, and we should have started with that too. To me, ghosting is when you just not communicate with the person. It doesn't have to involve blocking, because blocking is an answer.
Right.
If we're in a relationship and you're blocked, oh shit, I guess it's over.
Hmm.
If every means of communication that we got happens, that's not ghosting. That's a dead end. Ghosting to me is like when you get those message and Tez has read the message.
Right.
January 1st. It's April. Tez read the message, didn't say shit.
Right.
You know, that's ghosting to me at least. You still have access to my number. My DMs are still open. You know that I'm reading them. Ghosting is just whatever.
All right, so
Yeah.
so I looked up
Yeah.
ghosting since we seem to have some debate about it.
The days.
I got to do it because I started with what I meant. I started the pod by saying what I meant about ghosting, but it's kind of
You
taking
gotta
a turn.
define
So now we
ghosting.
go to defining it. You know what I'm saying? So it says ghosting when
Okay.
someone cuts off all communication without explanation, extends to all things, it seems. Most of us think about it in the context of digital departure, i.e., a friend not responding to a text, or worse, a lover. But it happens across all social circumstances and is tied to the way we view the world. And that's from the New York
Yeah.
Times.
Blocking is
Yeah.
a
So
tool
that's
of
Yeah, it's a
ghosting.
form.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
And then,
right,
Part of it.
right. It's part of it.
Yeah.
It's not totally. Yeah. So it's yeah. That's just one form. So
yeah, so
exactly.
that's but
I
my
feel,
thing is
but
to I was trying to say about what Tez saying is in Tez's example, Tez is saying he's already spoken to them, he's already given them chances. That's not the norm with ghosting. When you say, "Hey, I've exhausted all resources and now it's time to close the chapter," that's different than what's commonly known as ghosting.
That sounds more like fed
I
up.
think the yeah, but see, it depends on the communication, right? It's like if I have a friend of mine and they keep violating, right? And I'm just like, yo, you gotta chill with that, yo, you gotta chill with that, yo, you gotta chill with that. Okay. But I never say, listen, this is the last time. If you do that again, I'm telling you, I don't want to hear from you. Then they know why they haven't heard from me. But if I'm like, nah, it's cool. All right,
Very
I ain't gonna say
passively.
nothing. Nah, I
Very
ain't gonna say
passively.
nothing. And then, yeah. And then they never hear from me. They like, what happened? Like, I always
Right.
shit on you. Why is it a problem me
Right.
doing it now? You've never said anything. So that's a little bit,
Yes.
different. You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, I gave you mad chances, but I'm letting you know this is
Right.
done.
And that's what
You
I
know?
mean. Like that's what I'm saying. Commonly,
Yeah.
ghosting is not after those several conversations. It's just
Yeah.
like, yo, Tess showed up with a blurred background. I ain't like that shit. I blocked him on everything. He's no longer on the pod. And it's like Tess has
Right.
no
Yeah.
idea what the
Yeah.
fuck just happened.
Yeah.
Or you just
And
dip
and
on them.
so for
You
me,
just dip on them.
right.
You just
So for me, ghosting is cutting off communication and the other person really doesn't know why. You never
Correct.
told them. You might have legitimate reasons, but
Right.
they don't know, and I know it like everybody else know it because it has happened to me many times and I've probably done it many times. You know what I'm saying? It's like whatever, So yeah, for me it's like, okay, I wouldn't necessarily it's a bad thing. I think it all depends on the relationship that you have, right? So if I'm, on some like one night stand type, let's just for example, people know I don't do
For example.
that. For example,
Oh, shit.
hypothetically speaking, I don't know why cats are laughing. Allegedly,
Apparently.
one, in a
You
different
know what I'm saying? In
dimension,
another in
if you
another
will.
part of the multiverse.
Right, exactly. And multiverse strength. This dude is crazy. I don't know what to say about it.
Multiverse.
I have
Oh,
nothing but
shit.
disrespect for that dude.
Oh man.
But
MVP.
yeah, so if it's like, nah, if you like that, just for example, meet somebody and it's like a one night whatever, and you know, you never hear from them, they never hear from you. I feel like ghosting in that sense is like, okay, fine, like there was no expectation of
Okay.
communications. Um, Ghosting becomes an issue when it's like this is somebody that you have some, the relation, this some kind of relationship there. Maybe you've gone out on a date or two if it comes to a romantic thing, or it doesn't have to be romantic. It could just be like associates, friends, people who think that, hey, like, yeah, we cool, right? What's up? And you might send a text like Tess is saying, I don't hear nothing. You might get that phone call, and we've all done it. It's like, yo, I constantly call this person, I never get the
Right.
call back. Are they okay? Are they all right? Are you still alive? Whatever. And you hearing from, maybe other people. Oh yeah, I just heard from so and so. Yeah, they good. Oh, they just text me, 5 minutes ago. Oh, okay. So you are getting my text, you are getting my phone calls or whatever, emails, whatever it is, but you're choosing to ignore them. That, as far as I'm concerned, is more of the ghosting. It's like I might as well just be invisible because this person, put me on the pay no mind list. If you want to use some back
Right.
in the day, lingo. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it is for me. And it's just like, yeah, here's what I think it is. And y'all could tell me. I feel like in today's dynamic of communicating, where most of it is a digital representation, through apps and text and all that, I feel like a lot of people have lost the art of communicating.
Agreed.
And ghosting is unfortunately an aspect of that. Meaning, here's a hard conversation I have to have, but I don't have the tools to know how to
Yes.
communicate.
So I'm out.
So, because it's awkward and I don't know how to really do it, I'll just do nothing, right? It's no different than, you taking a chemistry test and they're like, okay, C plus X plus Y. And I'll put nothing because I have no idea how to do this. You just don't know. So you just leave it blank. And they're like, no, put something. You got to say something. I have no clue what to do. I don't know what to do. And I feel like with today's um, generation, they've lost the art of communicating. So to be able to sit down with somebody and say, listen, it's been cool or whatever, but I think you cool or whatever, but I really don't want to continue this. This is I'm not enjoying it. Whatever the reason is, I moved on. I feel like we have come to a conclusion. These are things that people don't know. And so to avoid conflict, to avoid that person, confronting them, to avoid confrontation in any way, they just ghost. Um, and so, yes, well, I think it's unfortunate, but I was gonna say cowardly, but I actually feel like it's not more cowardly as far as like I think a lot of people lack the skill, and because they lack the skill, this is why we have this thing. People just don't know how to do it.
Well, also to add to the point, I believe that people are glorifying, the ignorance, because people will say, well, saying nothing is saying something. And I can see both sides of that.
Yeah.
I can see that I could, like Jay like to say, I could argue both sides. You feel what I'm saying? I could see somebody, you know, ghosting me, like we say back in the day, giving you the cold shoulder. You remember that?
Yep.
Person was giving you the cold shoulder.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you would basically then come to the conclusion like, this person don't want to be bothered with me. But in that sense, we adults, it's better to communicate that, have some positive discourse, because believe it or not, in a lot of different situations, people grow apart, and it don't really got to be beef. You understand what I'm saying? You on a different path, I'm on a different path. We going in different directions. You know, express that. You know, if you can. A lot of times people act it out. They won't say it, they won't express it, but they'll act it out. You see it in their demeanor, you see it in their behavior. You run into them somewhere, like you said, shit get awkward, they'll turn and go in the other direction because they've been ghosting you all this time. You feel what I'm saying? um Instead of
Yeah.
just having that conversation, you know
Right.
but then it's having that conversation, and then what you can't control, it's having that conversation and then the other person walking away with resentment. I think people worry about that, and you can't really control that. Like Jay say, as long as you did your best, you did your part. You pulled up, you said, hey, let's have the conversation. You did that. You understand what I'm saying? You was very diplomatic about it, and if they walk away, with an issue still, then that's on them.
Mm.
No, I don't agree with ghosting. I believe ghosting is completely immature in some instances. I think communicate comprehensively. Have those conversations. Express the pros and the cons in which you will. I think I think as an individual, you could learn something too, because you never know what may come from that conversation with that person. Because ghosting in a sense too is selfish, because you kind of making a decision without even having a conversation with the person. You making that decision on your own to not have the conversation, but you don't know how they're gonna respond to the conversation. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
also
And
selfish in a sense as well. Go ahead, Dre.
yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, I know Nessa said that too. It's like it's an answer without having an
Correct.
answer, which I agree, but it's a low form of communication. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than communicating by punching somebody in the face. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, I'm angry, so I'll just punch you in the face. That's how I communicate. Well, that is a way to communicate, but it's a low
Right.
form. You know what I'm saying? Like, we supposed to be higher intelligent
Yeah.
people. And so, yes, you can say something by saying nothing, I guess kind of passive aggressive or whatever. And yeah, that's true. But I feel like, step up, be an adult, and, uh, especially if it's somebody that is somewhat significant in your life. I mean, when it has happened to me, to people who I'm like, yo, we like mad cool. We done broke bread together on many occasions. Somebody might even say, "Oh yeah, Dre, I've had this happen a couple of times. Women been like, "Oh, I love you." Oh, word. Okay, that's what's up. Okay, so you're supposed to love me and we've had this bond that I think that is like pretty solid. Then I don't hear from you. It's like that's weird. You know what I'm saying? And you might felt like, well, hey, the relationship wasn't going the direction I wanted, or, I felt I gave enough time. That's cool. I can respect all that. But put on your big girl panties and step up and say, hey, this is the reason why I feel like I don't really want to, continue or whatever, because um, like you just said, Days, it's like, well, you never know what I'm gonna say. And then I've had people come back after ghosting, which is even more awkward. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, yo,
That's the
it's
best.
like it's been 3 years. So how did you do over the pandemic? Oh, okay. Like we gotta have this conversation because this is weird. Like, You run into somebody and it's like very awkward, and normally if you ghost me and I run into you, I'm gonna act like I don't see you because you ghosted me, right? So what's the purpose of me stopping? Hey, how you doing? That's fake and phony, and I don't do that. So we ghosting means invisible, me I don't see you, right? Um, Once again, when the term ghost I know from the street was when you put somebody down. You know what I'm saying? That ghost shit came from people saying, you Swayze. Swayze was like Patrick Swayze, and cats know that's from the movie Ghost. And so when you ghosted somebody on some street stuff, they were gone. They were out of here, right? So you know what I mean? So it's like you invisible. You're not seen. So if I run into you on the street, I'm not gonna act like we cool. You've already made that decision. Now, if you come to me, that's the first order of business. We got to be like, yo, like, yeah, like 2019. What the hell happened?
The
You know what
flip
I'm
side
saying?
though, the
Like,
flip side of ghosting though too could be somebody going through something, and they don't really know how to have that conversation. Because that's what I'm saying. I said there's multiple layers to this situation too. Because there's times where I was going through stuff, and I didn't. I'm a very private person, so it's like I don't really be just having those conversations with anybody. Jay know, because that's my guy. But you know, people are ghosts like that in the sense where they don't really know how to have the conversation with you about what's going on. You feel what I'm saying? And they technically not
but
ghosting certain people because, like I said, Jay would know, this one would know, but certain people wouldn't know. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, I'm like that too, Days. But it's like I have the responsibility to say something. Yo, I'm going through something right now. I can't even, I can't talk. If somebody texts me, I'm not going to ignore the text I just saw. Now, I'm like you. Yeah, my relationships are spatial, so everybody don't know everything. So you might just be a work colleague, but I'm gonna say something. I'm not gonna, not just straight ignore your
Yeah,
your text. I'm just gonna be like, look, I'm going through something right now. Now is not a good time. When I get an opportunity, I'll talk to you. Now that opportunity might be a month, might be two
facts.
months, but that's the opportunity. Like I needed to go through something. It was 2 months later, and now I'm linking back up with you because I said I would. But I feel like, yeah, I'm not trying to tell everybody everything that I'm going through, but you have to be an adult and say something. Just because you're going through something and everybody gets in their shell does not mean you can now just ignore messages and texts from whether you dating people or not. Because I'm taking it outside just the realm of dating. I'm saying like, it could be friends, family members, whatever. If you're just going to be that immature and be like, well, I'm not talking to this person, I have nothing to say to them, and they reaching out. Yeah, I think it's immature
Yeah, and
on
it
that
lacks
part.
common courtesy. I was waiting for everybody to finish. I didn't want to cut everybody
Yeah.
else, but that was my point from the beginning. Like the common courtesy is what I'm speaking about. Nestor, yeah, you're right. They don't owe you anything if you only went on one date or if you're a one night stand. Or in Tez's example, I think his example is a little different because he's exhausted all resources, right?
Mhm.
But I'm speaking more about the common courtesy point where, like in Dre's example, I'll keep it real. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't have a problem being transparent. There's plenty of people who, during the pandemic, I was checking in on every week. Yo, weekly check in. Yo, how you feeling?
Right.
How's everything doing?
Love respect.
Y'all know I was doing it with y'all. Yo, what's up? Weekly check in. How you feeling? How you been? How's the fam? You good? Did you catch COVID? What's up? You all right? You need anything? And I was doing that the whole time with a group of people. And all of a sudden, one person, I won't say names, but one person vanished. I'm like, okay. I start hitting people like Dre said. Yo, you spoke to so and so? Oh yeah, I was on the phone with him yesterday. Oh wow, that's really strange. Okay, that's odd. Let me see. All right, now my spider sense start tingling a little bit. Hey, some ain't right here. Let me see. Let me hit somebody else up. Yo, what's up? You spoke to so and so lately? Oh yeah, I was with them last night. We was bar hopping. Wow. Okay, so clearly they ain't fucking with me. But why? I don't know. I still to this day have no idea why. And truly, I really brought this topic up more about the dating. But since we're here, let's do it. Like, I think this is even more irresponsible. Yeah, if we went on 3 dates, you don't owe me anything. But it is a common courtesy to just be like, hey, listen, man, you're always wearing sweatpants and your breath stinks. I can't do it. Sorry. Okay, hey, listen, I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you for. I appreciate the common courtesy. Hat
And you're
tip.
helping him. You're
Hat
helping him
tip.
moving
Hat
forward
tip.
now.
Right.
Now
You know,
you're
hat
making
tip.
him aware. So
Right.
Damn, bro,
Now-
I'm chewing gum though, bro. I got sweatpants on. I'm chewing gum though, bro. Come
You know what
on.
I'm saying? I be
You got-
jogging.
you got-
That's
you
why I
got
got
playing
joggers
game?
on. You know what I'm saying? I be jogging. You know what I'm saying? But now you know, you're right. They don't owe you. They don't owe you.
Stay
that.
picking on me. The blurred background. Come on, man.
Nah, I have sweatpants on right now, son. You know my style, joggers, baby.
Dude said,
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But you're right. Yeah, two.
Everyone stand up and show your pants.
Yo,
and I
Dre,
got
that's why I
cotton
love
mouth.
you. I love you
Sweatpants
because
and
I was
cotton
thinking the
mouth,
same shit. I was like, man, is it foul to tell everybody to stand up and show their pants, though?
Fit
Sweatpants
check.
and cotton mouth. I feel attacked.
Ah, you know what I'm saying?
Man,
But,
picking on us. Throwing subs. Throwing subs in the booth. Look at them. Diss track on all of us.
But yeah, no, I think you're right, Ness. Yeah, like two dates in, probably not, but it is a common courtesy. And I think, as you are all saying, right, the more the relationship grows, whatever the dynamic is, as you said last part, a non-familial relationship, friend, mess around, you know, lover, person you're actually in a committed relationship with. I think as we continue to increase the relationship, you owe more of that. And so if we've been friends 10 years and you decide, hey, I ain't fucking with JD no more. Okay, cool. So where's the phone call? Where's the text? Where's the email? Where's the Instagram DM? Like, nigga, something. Like, you just fucking vanish and nobody knows why. Like, to me, that's way worse than the person who went on 2 dates with me and was like, nah, all of a sudden I'm clearly blocked. I mean, what do you say, Ness? Do you think it's cool for niggas who've been cool with you for 10 years to just not respond?
Well, no, I mean,
You
I
don't-
said
you
no
think they
matter
don't
what.
owe anything?
Yeah, no, I said no matter what, it's a messed up situation. And yes, if it's someone that you've built a pretty solid relationship or you felt was a pretty solid relationship, and they just disappear on you, just completely stop. Yeah, it's definitely messed up, and an explanation is probably expected, and yeah, you probably want closure on that, but it still is something that's not owed. Like an explanation is never owed to the other person. It's an expectation for sure. And like you said, like I said before, it's courteous, but it's definitely not something owed. No one owes you anything.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Dre, and then
I'm gonna-
I'll go.
Yeah. I gotta say I disagree with that as well, because I feel like now we're talking about relationship dynamics. Okay, what are the dynamics of a relationship? Now let's just get, for the sake of argument, let's get out of dating for a minute and talk about a relationship that all of us have. We have a relationship with our employers, with our work, right? You walk in, I've been working for this place for 10 years, right? I walk in ready to work, you know, Monday morning, let's get it popping. Oh yeah, Dre, you don't work here no more. What? Nah, you don't work here. What happened? Well, I ain't gotta tell you what happened. I don't owe you an explanation. Peace. So that's wrong, right? I'm looking at everybody's face right now. You're like, well, that's messed up. That would be messed up. Yes, it's wrong, because you do in all relationships, you know, especially like Jay is saying, based on the time and energy and what this person has been in your life. There's a dynamic, a certain dynamic of all relationships that says, if you respect this person, you owe them, even if you're cutting things off, you owe them at least an explanation. Hey, you know, work is not coming in. We don't get as much sales as we used to. We used to have this grant, and that grant has ran out. We can't afford your position anymore. You got to tell a person something, because they've been there. And we understand that when it comes to the work relationship, but I'm just saying all relationships have the same dynamic. So even if it's a dating situation or a family situation or whatever relationships we're talking about, if you put that time in, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wow, I feel like you know, tell me something, you know. Now, you can't force anybody to do anything, but yes, we are talking about what the expectation is of a
That's why I'm
relationship.
immature.
If you don't meet that, if you don't meet that expectation, well, yeah, you don't either know, you don't have the tools, like I said earlier, or you're just an asshole, whatever. But that expectation is still present whether you meet it or not.
Like, yeah, exactly. The expectation is there, but it's not owed. And in the example you gave with workplace, I work in New York. It's an at-will state. They can fire you for any reason, and they don't have to give you a reason.
You
It's
dropped the
a
ball.
courtesy to give you a reason, and it's expected, sure, but they don't have to give you a reason. There's no owed reasoning. So yes, expectation 100%, but they don't actually owe you a reasoning. The only time that owing of a
Yeah,
reason comes in is when there's like laws in place. You have to have a reason. What's that thing called?
Unions,
Uh,
but
the groups, the working groups, the
unions.
unions. Thank you. Yeah,
Jay just said
I didn't hear
unions.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Jay just said
union
unions. But
situations. They
um,
Hold on,
require
Tez. I see you.
they require that. They require that you
yeah,
give that explanation because it has to be a legitimate one.
yeah. So what you're now talking about is the law, and what I'm talking about is relationship dynamics. So even in the state, and my
Yeah.
state is the same thing, an at will state. Why will jobs, even though they can just tell you, hey, I don't owe you explanation, there's no law saying I have to do it, why would they do it anyway? The reason why they do it anyway is because they know that they're not going to have many people working there when the word gets out that, yo, Amazon, when they first fire you, they just fire you, son. They don't say nothing to you. They just tell you to get out. They take their keys and they throw you out. No, they got to say something because you don't want to be that employer that is known for just being an asshole, right? No one would want to work there. And so forget about the law. What I'm saying is what's right. You know what I'm saying? The law can be switched and turned to anything, but we as human beings got to step up and be more civilized and be able to say, hey, based on relationship dynamics, this is wrong. It's a whole plethora of things in terms of relationship dynamics, but one of them is how to end a relationship. What's the
Yeah.
proper way to do that? And I believe communication
Yeah,
is the key.
definitely. Yeah.
Go ahead, Tez.
Just to round it up, in New York, yes, you don't need a reason. I mean, you can get fired for anything. That's what the at will means. But you are required to get a reason
Mhm.
because for unemployment's sake. So if you are fired because you're late to work every day or you didn't show up, you don't get unemployment. But you are allowed to get a reason for why you're fired, so you can apply for unemployment. I'm just saying in that defense because I know that part.
I think I think the whole point. I think we're just all looking at
Nah.
different phases of it, and I think that's cool. Um, I think that it does depend on the dynamics, the time, the relationship. I've known y'all for eons, all of you. If tomorrow I just stopped communicating with all four of you and nobody knew why, I'm sure there would be lots of questions. And if you hit me up and my response was, I don't owe you anything, I'm pretty sure you'd be knocking on my door the next day.
Nah. That means you're already in the place that we already spoke of before. All right. That means you found a plethora of money or goods and you're securing it in an offshore bank account. I know the truth. I know what it is, bro. It's gonna be like Shawshank. I'm gonna get that letter in the mail or something one day. I don't even know. Oh, it's a postcard from Jay. It's not even from Jay. It's from some name that Desmond Mobay. Oh, Desmond Mobay. I know what it is. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
That's it. Nah, but jokes aside, if I do think if today I just ceased communication with all four of you, I don't think anyone would be satisfied with that. I think there is an expectation which we all agreed on, and I think that yeah, if you hit me back and was like, "Yo, man, I ain't heard from you in 2 weeks. I ain't see a pod out. I ain't see a clip out. What's going on?" And my response was, I don't owe any of you anything. In the man cave group chat, I'm pretty sure people would be feeling away and probably be some people knocking on my door. You disagree, Ness?
I don't disagree on my part. That's my answer.
Got it.
I got my
Okay.
answer. I don't need to look for you after that.
Nah.
Yeah, no doubt. That I dig. I dig that too. It's like if I know you for all these years and I'm sending you communications, texts, phone calls. You know, I've had it happen where it's like, man, I'm texting this, I don't hear nothing. Phone call, I don't hear nothing. Like, whoa, all right. I'm gonna give it some time because you never know a person's situation. You know, I'm like, if they're going through something, some dangerous thing, you know, their building is collapsing. They might need a few days before they can, you know, get around to telling you I'm okay. So I'm gonna give a person, you know, some time. But if I'm constantly doing it, and I don't hear anything, yes, Ness, you're right. Uh, yeah, I ain't gonna show up at your door. I'm not going wild out. I'm not gonna be you owe me. I'm not. You said what you needed to say. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's unfortunate, and I don't front of myself like.
Right.
Of course,
I
would be hurt.
was just gonna
Like
say that.
that.
It's not like I wouldn't be hurt. It's just
You know?
that I got my answer.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but it is different though, because
Talk to
it's also like Jay's my brother. For him to get to this point, then it means something real serious has happened, or I did
Correct.
something to have made this happen. And again, you know, revealing a layer of myself. Whenever there's a problem in a friendship or a relationship, I naturally gravitate to something that I may have done wrong. It's my mental way at work. It's not healthy, but
Yeah.
it's me. So I'm thinking a mile a minute at that point where, like, what did I do? Did I say something? Did I not do something? Did I forget something? Or is there something that this person was expecting of me? You know, I'm a kind of person, I don't text often, but you need to talk to me, we'll talk. You know, that's fine. I'm always there for everybody, and I know my circle's there for me when I need it. But if Jay comes out of left field and texts, you know, tell me, man, I don't need you. Like, bro, what the fuck? Like, we dead ass slipped in a triangle once, you know, like, come on.
Right.
You know, seriously, joking aside, if I was to get that kind of message, then it's a concern. Something's up. It's a foreign element of our relationship, because I know that I have a communication with Jay, and in that relation, and to stem it all to the point that we're making here. In any relationship, there needs to be that communication, right? There needs to be that confidence, and to tell that person good news, and to tell them the bad news. Hey, this ain't working out, you know. But especially in a friendship or like a brotherhood between me and Jay, if I did something wrong, my man, tell me. You know, how I understand sometimes you need a moment to yourself to really gravitate. Like, yo, is this really affecting me that way? As soon as yo, yesterday, bro, you complained about the blurred camera, bro. Like, come on, I'm tired of it. You know, bring it up.
Right.
You know, it's that. But to come out of left field and say, yo, man, don't worry about it, you ain't been here. That's concerning to me. You know.
Yeah, and I think then it becomes, what is the style of communication, which is a whole nother topic for another time. But I think it goes back to what Daze was saying, which is that you never know how someone's going to respond. And so I think it's the way in which you communicate, I'm done with this relationship. Or like you're saying, Tez, well, you know, you messed up and my feelings are hurt, or I feel a way, or whatever. You know, if I say, well, you know, Ness, blah, blah, blah happened, and I wasn't really digging that. That's much different than me being like, yo, Ness, yo, fuck you, man. You ain't shit. You's a bitch ass nigga. Hey, wait a minute. That's a very different style. And so, yeah, I think that's what it is. I think everything we're saying kind of comes to this point where, yeah, you do expect communication. There should be communication, but it's how you have that communication. So that's my last thought. Any last thoughts before we move on, fellas?
Ghost, you don't even want to know. Drupal Long wrote a song like the Here
Talk
and
to
Here
him,
It Go.
son.
Ricochet Rabbit had a habit. No. That's from that Ghostface Supreme
That's why I said
Clientele.
talk to him, you know what I'm saying? Talk to him. All right. So
ahead,
let's
that's
move
it.
on to our next topic.